It's the Paris Chong Show.
So now, why were you in Paris so much?
So basically, as you know, we had the Paris Blues show
I do.
at the LA
It was
Gallery,
amazing.
which I believe I've heard was the craziest opening
It always
ever.
is.
And
And the best sales.
yeah, and wonderful. So many of my friends showed up.
It was star-studded.
That was kind of amazing to see, because the thing for me is I basically travel with these people.
Mhm.
I follow them, and it was kind of amazing for once to see everybody show up for me. That
Yeah.
meant a lot to me. You know, Dave Chappelle flying from Ohio, Chris Rock coming from New York, Palm, my best friend Palm Clementieff, who I also did a shoot with for the book, for the Paris Blues book in Paris. The last shoot I did for the book, flew from London. I mean, it was kind of crazy, and so many of my other friends. I don't mean to only name
Yeah. There was a
the
lot of
celebrities
stars there.
and
I
a
know.
lot of friends and family, but Jason Momoa stood in line. You know, it's just like
I
what's
heard
going
Dave
on?
Chappelle did too.
Yeah, and everybody's texting me like, "Hey, I'm
Standing
outside," you
outside.
know. But so that was crazy to have like 1,000 people show
Yeah.
up for this thing,
Jimmy Jam.
and Jimmy Jam, and I mean, it's Seth Green and his wife Claire. I mean, like so many, and Seth and Claire were the first people to show up, so that was fun. I got to actually
Yeah.
hang with them.
They were
You
really
know,
nice.
Stan Lathan and his wife Marguerite too. It was nice of people that showed up like five, because I could actually talk to them and give them a preview of the show. Kevin Mazur was one of my dear friend, probably the biggest photographer, and he's at every event in the world. He was in the middle of shooting the Michael Jackson movie in secrecy, and actually took a break to come see the show early. So it was.
That's
I
cool.
really felt like people showed me a lot of love,
Oh, they sure did.
so
And now everyone expects to see all these people at all our
right,
shows. Thanks a lot, Matthew.
and I love screwing you up. And so basically at the opening in LA, as you know, everybody was like, "Is there a book? Is there a book?" And I
Mhm.
was like, "Well, I was traveling so much, there's no way I could have put together a
Right.
book." So since then, I did a book deal with Tenoyas, who's one of my
Amazing.
favorite publishers, and I have a lot of those Elliot Erwitt books, and I mean a lot of other books as well. But the Erwitt books are always my favorites from Tenoyas, and so the book will be out sometime in late October, and in time for the November 7th New York show of Paris
Yay.
Blues, which has been a little revamped a little bit. It's a little smaller space, and I
Mhm.
added about 5 new images, as I like to do when I travel or show. And so that's going to be a lot of people are coming there. It's
Yeah.
going to be wild. I'm excited about it. It's my first New York show ever. The LA one was my second one with you. So um, it's quite surreal. And then so I went back to Paris a bunch of times this year to finish this book, because I felt like I had to shoot a lot of areas that I grew up in. I wrote a very, very personal foreword, the most personal thing I've ever written. It's like 11 pages or something.
Wow.
And
Did you use AI?
I did not. So I'll tell you a good story.
I know.
I'll tell you a really good story. So I actually was so stuck when it was time to write a piece, that it was like people around me, like Grace or my ex Rebecca, my boys Miles and Julian,
Mhm.
everybody's like, try Chat GPT or whatever.
Yeah.
And so like Grace got on the computer and wrote like, write about an intro about Mathieu Bitton in Paris, and it put in 3 seconds it wrote this thing, and I read it and it got like demoralized. So I was like, this is my life. This is
Yeah,
what
no, it's
what
not good.
the computer thinks my life is. So boring, and it's all these things that it found on Google about, and he won this award and blah blah blah, and so it was the best exercise, because I was so repulsed by what I read
Yep.
that I sat down and had the most incredible stream of consciousness writing I've ever had, to the point that people that I've shared it with, editors and authors,
Mhm.
have all said like, okay, now you need to write a full book, like a memoir, because this is not only a great thing to read, but it's something that can be really inspiring to younger artists, younger photographers, younger art directors, and all the
Yeah.
different things that I do. But I actually it was such an emotional roller coaster writing it. All these memories come back, and next thing you know, you're like sitting there crying at your computer, and like, I know I'm not premenstrual. Why am I randomly crying?
Oh no, men get PMS
Yeah,
too.
I
That's called
definitely,
something else though.
yeah. So we basically, I sent it. It took about a month, and I had again like family. I've got Rebecca Bitton, my baby baby mama. She loves when I call her that. Is like the main text editor on the book. Miles helped me with the photo editing because I had thousands and thousands of photos, but you can only fit a couple hundred, or if maybe 220 or something. And so that was also really hard to basically. I really trust Miles's taste and his vision. So to be able, he's been assisting me since he was like 13 years old, and now he's doing his own
He's
stuff,
amazing, your
and he's
son.
amazing. And I was like, okay, let's run through these images in this book, and there were images that I was so married to, and he was like, that's okay. He's like, I mean, this is like in the beginning, you've gotten much better, and I'm like, I don't want to like slap him and be like,
Yeah. No,
what do you
he's a
mean
mini
this is
you.
yeah, yeah.
He's a mini you.
But I asked, and so I had to listen, and my friend David Ritz, who's one of the greatest authors, who wrote all the great biographies, autobiographies from Marvin Gaye, Ray Charles, Etta James, Aretha Franklin, everybody. I sent it to him, and then I realized, oh my God, if he responds and he wants to chop the whole thing up, I'm screwed because I don't, But he got back. He's like, "This is amazing." I cut off the last paragraph because it's not necessary. Cut this little section. That took me 3 weeks to do because it was really hard to
Yeah.
edit. But now I'm really proud of it.
You should be. That's a
Yeah.
really congratulations. That's an
Thank you.
amazing
Thank
publisher to
you.
get.
Very excited. The book is today's supposed to be the final day of changes. So, probably tomorrow it will go out for good. So I've been
Wow.
working on it for like 4 months. And that's why I'm so happy that I was able to take the time to even go back to shoot specific things, doing shoots with amazing artists like Melody Gardot, who's a great singer who I love. And she was just coming back from touring Japan, and we went to the Tuileries, the park, and did some amazing photos. And then Palm, we after dinner at Cost, we went and did some cool photos around there for the book. So all that stuff is new. A lot of the book is new material, and then it goes about I would say from 2007 to now. So it's longer than the show was. The
That's
show was about
great.
10 years of
Yeah.
photos. So this goes almost 20 years, and it's you'll see my
It's amazing. I
family
can't
in
wait to see
there.
that.
You
I know.
see,
I love you got your the flat that you grew up in the.
yeah. So I have that. I've got, you know, I talk about the influence of Serge Gainsbourg, the
Mm.
French singer. So there's a bunch of pictures from his house in Paris. There's, a photo of my dad sticking his tongue out at the Serge graffiti, and my dad's going through Alzheimer's. And so I've been spending a lot of time with him in that
Yeah.
process of even writing and even going back to shoot. And it's just kind of crazy because I'm talking about this guy who was like my, hero as a kid. And now he's not completely there. But at the same time, this book is kind of a tribute to everybody and my childhood,
Yeah.
and it's complete therapy. It's kind of incredible. And there's pictures of all the artists I work with in there, so people are always like celebrity photographer. It's not really that.
Yeah.
It's just my friends, and they happen to be celebrities. And then you'll see some other great artists like Mick Jagger and Bruno Mars, and some are friends, some I don't know,
Mhm.
but I captured. And so it's very personal. Every story, every picture has a story not told.
Mhm.
The foreword is my main thing. I
Mhm.
didn't want to do captions. I kind of like people just looking through the photos, and in the back there's just an index saying when and where it was
That's good.
shot, but there's no stories. I did that on the Darker Than Blue book, and then I kind of regretted it. I kind of like people to imagine their own scenario looking
Right.
at a photo. I wonder what this person is thinking, and they might not know it's somebody I know, or it's just some random person. But so yeah, I can't wait for
I can't wait either.
that to
And
be.
the first book, your first book sold out, right?
Yeah, it sold out.
It's the Paris Chong Show.